This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. All right, opening statement for electronic meetings. This is the Ad Hoc Nominating Committee meeting on June 25th. Since the governor declared the state of emergency on March 12th, 2020, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, state and local governmental bodies have been providing for the continuity of government by meeting remotely, by telephonic or electronic means, in compliance with the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, guidance provided by the Attorney General and the respective legal counsel. On April 22nd, the General Assembly approved a budget amendment to authorize all public bodies, including regional bodies such as Plan RVA, likewise to meet by electronic means without a physical quorum assembled together during a governor-declared state of emergency, as long as certain conditions are met so as to provide for the continuity of governmental operations. The new authority became effective immediately upon passage. The 2020 COVID-19 virus makes it impractical and unsafe, even potentially life-threatening, for a quorum of this body to physically assemble in one location, pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3708.2. Further, the virus makes it impractical and unsafe for the public and the agency staff to gather in the same location to participate in this meeting. The health, safety, and welfare of our community is of paramount importance. Therefore, we have determined the authority to conduct today's meeting electronically pursuant to the provisions of Virginia Code 2.2-3708.2 and related legislation approved by the General Assembly of Virginia, and in light of the governor's state of emergency declaration for COVID-19. The matters included on the agenda address important and essential matters of continuing the work of government through this agency, and therefore it is appropriate to convene during this time. While we do not know the exact duration of the current practice of electronic meetings, we will continue to function in this manner until such time as it is deemed advisable to return to in-person meetings. At this time, we expect meetings to occur in an electronic format through the current declaration. Staff provided notice of this meeting and the means by which we are virtually gathered to members of the public on Monday, May 4th, if that's not correct, through electronic posting on the Plan RVA website and email distribution of notice to members, alternates, and known interested parties, including the media. In order to comply with provisions of Virginia law and to improve accessibility to the discussions intended for today, this meeting will be recorded. Audio recordings of the meeting and materials will be posted on the Plan RVA website within 48 hours of this meeting. Any member of the public participating as an observer during the meeting today may submit comments or questions at any time during the meeting via email at info@planrva.org or by using the online chat functions of the meeting platform. Those individuals who are observing by phone may be called upon to share questions or comments. This meeting agenda includes 2 opportunities for members of the public to address this body. All comments and questions submitted during the meeting will be reviewed following the meeting, and to the extent practical, responses will be provided or posted on the Plan RVA website. We ask that everyone identify themselves first when speaking so we can more accurately record the activities of the meeting. All lines have been muted by the meeting administrator to minimize additional noise and feedback. You may unmute your line at any time to request acknowledgement from the chair. Staff will be monitoring the chat functions throughout the meeting to assure we do not overlook anyone wishing to participate as appropriate in the discussion.
Thank you. We'll do an identification of everybody that's on the call. So this is Martha Heater from Plan RVA.
George Spagna, Town of Ashland.
Cynthia Newbill, City of Richmond.
Diane Fusco, Plan RVA.
Great. And that's everybody that's on the call right now. So we would normally do a public comment. I don't think we have anybody on the line to address the committee. So we'll dispense with that item and move into just an update. We're meeting today just as a follow-up from last week's conversation about nominations for fiscal year 21. My report or my homework assignments for last conversation included following up with Eric Gregory about just procedural things. He did let me know that on his review of the bylaws, there is no deadline by which nominations and or elections must occur. The bylaws only speak to the fact that it must occur following the June meeting. So we are in compliance and we do not have a deadline, while I'm sure the current sitting officers would appreciate knowing their relief period. And I did also follow up with Mayor C. Tribbett from Ashland, who he and I had a nice conversation last Friday where we were able to talk through. He was, I think, largely because of Dr. Spagna, pretty well versed on our situation in the rotation. My impression from him was that he would prefer to wait until after the July council meeting, where the town council organizes and selects a chair and determines who will be representing Ashland before they waive their place in rotation. So I expressed to him that I would convey that to the committee, but that I thought that that was something that we could wait. We are sending out notice today that the July 9th commission meetings will be canceled. And so the timing works out that we will not be meeting again as a body until August, in which case we will have gotten word from Ashland, their desires. And my thought for the committee purposes, if you all think that this would be a good idea, is that you could have option A of a slate and option B of a slate. And so if option A is to follow the normal rotation, and then option B is the plan B that we discussed last time, then Dr. Spagna, that would relieve you of your duties by the June 30th deadline. We could go with option A, provided Ashland is interested in staying in the rotation, and we would go with option B if they decide not to.
Makes sense.
So, I don't know if for the record it would make sense for us to kind of go through the slate by name, but that option A would be that Ashland would be the chair. New Kent County would be the representative. Mrs. Page would be the vice chair. The treasurer would be Hanover and Mr. Davis, and the secretary would be Goochland, which is Mr. Spoonhauer. Option B would be to reverse the role assignments for Hanover and Ashland, where we would ask Mr. Davis if he would be interested in serving as chair in the coming year, and the Ashland representative would serve as the treasurer.
So what is our decision point here? I guess for me, option A, if Ashland is indeed interested in retaining their place in the rotation, which would be as chair, then I'm inclined to be supportive of that unless they come back and say, well, no, we'll forego it, in which case option B would be the choice for me.
I'm not privy to conversations that Mayor Trivette has had with other members of council, both continuing and elected at the last term. I believe that he will be reelected as mayor. And my conversations with him were that if he were to appoint Mr. Hodges, who's currently vice mayor, and also the outgoing chair of the TPO, that it would be okay for Ashland to stay in the rotation and Mr. Hodges to
Okay.
If he elects to, if he were to appoint somebody else, my suggestion would be to go to Plan B, because that somebody else would need some time to come up to speed, both on the operations of Plan RVA, but on the entire organization, which includes Mr. Hodges. In his background, he's a retired planning director from Hanover County, so he knows planning issues inside and out. So he could certainly handle stepping in at Plan RVA with no problems.
So, Dr. Spagna, did we say the same thing? It's a Plan A and then Plan B, depending on Ashland's appointment?
We are, yes.
Okay. I'm having a hard time hearing, so I think I got most of it.
So if you guys wanted to make a motion to that effect, I think if that gave us enough clarity, we could have that be your recommendation, and depending on how the circumstances in Ashland unfold in the first couple of weeks of July, we would know whether option A is going to be the recommendation included in the materials for the August meeting, or if we would need to go with option B. I suppose that there's a scenario where if Mr. Davis says no to option B, we'd be back at square one, but I think we could convene a new committee at that point to figure that out.
Okay. I would make that motion.
The advantage of not meeting in July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We do have time if we have to be at
Right.
adaptation.
Yeah. So we have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
And I think we have a motion and a second.
Yeah, we're both motioning, yes. Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, I think by virtue of a motion and a second from the only two members of the committee, that means that you are unanimous in the recommendation.
Decision.
I think so.
Diane has the task of figuring out how to make that work in the minute language, but yeah, I mean, I think that this gives us a good sense, and then that way I can communicate back to Mayor Trivet the course, and we can just stay in communication. And Dr. Newbo, I can certainly keep you up to date.
Okay.
After the town council meets in July, and obviously Dr. Spagna, I'll keep you up to date if you're interested. But
okay.
So yeah, I mean, that was the only item on the agenda. Dr. Newbill, if you're able to, we would put the report from the nominating committee, I think, in both your names, but if you are able to speak to any questions that anybody might have in August, that would be great.
Sure. Either that or Dr. Spagna will have to come back for at least another 30-day rotation.
There you go. Yeah.
Dr. Spagna, it's been an honor. Thank you. A pleasure working with you.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a wrap for the moment?
I think so, unless anyone else has anything.
Well, as I mentioned at the last town council meeting, I'm not dead yet. So if something comes up in the next 5 days, I'm still the representative from the town.
Okay. Well, I hope for your sake and ours, nothing comes up that would cause you to have to come out of your pre-retirement. So thank you.
Okay, folks. Listen, it's a pleasure.
Well, have a good afternoon, everybody. Thank you guys so much for making time.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.